Welcome to Animal Nonsense. I'm Jess.
I'm David.
You can find us on social media at Animal Nonsense Pod.
And we have an email address, animalnonsensepodcast@gmail.com. You can also find our reach out forms.
We are a reasonably new podcast, aren't we? So if you enjoy the podcast, if you could recommend it to one person, that would be amazing, because that's how we grow.
Is one person tells one person. And
Yep.
with regards to the reaching out, you could Google it, but that's no fun.
Yes. Oh, got a frog in my throat.
Well, that's an obstacle. Is that the theme of your episode?
I don't know where that expression comes
Reptiles
from.
in throats.
This is a very time-specific episode, because when this episode goes out, it will be the 8th of May. It marks the 100th birthday of Sir David Attenborough. What are your earliest memories of Sir David?
I remember being rushed out of the room by my grandmother when it was on, because I didn't enjoy it when the animals weren't friends.
I used to always, and my kids do the same thing, when you're watching a predator, will always want the animal that's being preyed upon to get away. But in reality, that's nature. Everything's got to eat, haven't they?
I do remember enjoying his voiceovers because there was an art to the room he would leave.
Born on the 8th of May 1926, Sir David's father was a principal of University College Leicester. He was always interested in the natural world. At age 11, he actually had a bit of a side hustle business, supplying the university with newts for the science department.
Right, at age 11?
He was sourcing these newts from a pond that was literally 5 metres from the zoology building.
Right, I've got to mark some essays. Go and find me more newts.
He spent 2 years in the Navy just after the Second World War. And the first job that he applied for at the BBC got rejected for. So anyway, he didn't call it a day. Well, he started his career in the BBC in 1952 as a trainee producer. And then 2 years later, he launched his career with the programme Zoo Quest, where he was introducing the public to rare animals. And when he started working on TV, he in fact didn't even own a TV. Because I think a lot of people didn't back then.
No, and also particularly, I mean, I don't know if this was the case, but particularly if his father was an academic, there was a view at the time that television was dumbing down.
Like lowbrow, yeah.
Lowbrow. And so lots of quite esteemed people wouldn't have a TV in their home. It was later.
He was originally discouraged from being in front of the camera because his teeth were deemed to be too big. Producers thought like he wasn't a good fit for in front of the camera because of how his teeth looked. Can you imagine if we went through life without the icon that's St. David Attenborough?
As a result of his teeth.
As a result of his teeth? What a stupid reason.
Not wishing to throw stones, but like any British person has got balls criticising another person's teeth.
Yeah, that's true. He was originally going to produce Zoo Quest rather than present it. So he was working with a guy called Jack Lester, who was the curator of London Zoo's Reptile House. So he was originally going to present. But then he became ill at the last minute, and Sir David Attenborough went to fill his place in front of the camera. That started off his journey as the presenter that we know and love.
You know, he ate like one like dodgy pie.
A dodgy prawn.
And his he could have had 70 years glittering career at the BBC.
It's amazing. Well, because Sir David has the longest career as a presenter and naturalist of anyone. He's in the Guinness Book of World Records for holding that title.
All because someone couldn't resist some cod and chips on the way home and it disagreed with their stomach.
Well, I probably should point out we don't know the ins and outs of what happened.
But I reckon we do.
But essentially, it was a lucky twist of fate that got him on the TV. So yeah, he was in an administrative place at the BBC, including controller and director of programmes, and he oversaw the transition from black and white to colour in the late 60s, early 70s. Some of his best known series: Life on Earth, The Living Planet, Private Life of Plants, The Life of Birds, The Life of Mammals, Life in the Undergrowth, Life in Cold Blood, Blue Planet, and of course Blue Planet 2, Planet Earth and its sequel, Life, Nature's Great Events, Frozen Planet, Life Story, and then several one-off documentaries. The Our Planet series for Netflix, which very much focused on the destructiveness of humans. He narrated every single episode of Wildlife on One, which ran for 253 episodes. He's done a bunch of collaborations for Sky, as well as 3D films The Penguin King and Conquest of the Skies. He has won an array of BAFTAs, including BAFTAs for programmes in black and white, colour, HD, 3D and 4K. More recently, in 2020, he narrated the documentary David Attenborough, A Life on Our Planet. This film was to act as his witness statement for the natural world and his vision for the future. But yes, he's very much these days, he's more focused on conservation and environmental advocacy. He's an advocate for plant-based diets and is mostly vegan.
If you're vegan 95% of the time, that's a really positive thing.
That's a really good thing, yeah.
You know, and it's a lot better than like, oh, well, you had it once, so you're a hypocrite, so blah, 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 blah. What I really enjoy about him is that for a man of his generation, the retirement age would have been 60.
Yeah.
And if he had have chosen to retire, that would have been 1985. And if you think of all of the work he's done since then, it might not have occurred. And so he does really prove that you are able to continue being a vital creative force.
There isn't an expiry date on you. And I think just like his longevity, like he's seen the changes firsthand. Like he's a very credible witness to how the planet's changing.
There's a really lovely clip of him and the Queen, and they have a sundial.
Okay.
And David Attenborough notices and points out to the Queen, a pity they put it in the shade.
You and Sir David actually have something in common.
Well, our first name.
Well, yeah. Okay, you have two things in common. That's a very good point. There's only one animal that he doesn't like. It's rats.
Yeah, I'm with you, mate.
His favourite animal changes kind of depending on what he's into at the moment, what he's researching. But he has named the weedy sea dragon. He's a type of seahorse, but he literally, I've seen them in an aquarium. It literally looks like a clump of seaweed with eyes.
Oh, that's really
It's
fun.
amazing. They are really cool. And monkeys as particular favourite animals of his. But he's also stated that the animal he finds the most fascinating are human babies.
I remember him being asked once in an interview if he would want to go to space. And he gave a really thoughtful answer about there are more mysteries on Earth than we will ever be able to solve.
Yeah.
And as long as they remain, then not really. I don't need the stars.
I completely agree. He was asked what animal he would be for a day. He said a bird of paradise. The rarest animal he's ever seen, and I'd say it's a Pinta Island tortoise from the Galapagos Islands called Lonesome George, who was the very last of his species. Passed away in 2021, just 2 weeks after Sir David had filmed with this tortoise. But he had a nice take on it. It's a sad story about an animal reaching its extinction. That Lonesome George would serve as a reminder to future generations of what can be turned around and, you know, a message of hope. I think that's the thing with him. His messaging is quite hopeful. We are in bad straits now, but and same as Jane Goodall, she was optimistic that like there is hope, but you need to take action towards that. And he's been criticised for almost not being harsh enough and blunt enough with his messaging about the climate crisis and things. They were saying he didn't want to turn people off, and I completely get that.
If people are no longer listening, it doesn't matter what the message is, it's not going to be heard.
It's not going to be heard. And I think it's important that we do have hope, because I think it's very easy to become very despondent, isn't it? To think that there's no point trying to fix things. Hope's really important. He can do a very, very good wolf call. There was one documentary where he was howling, doing his wolf call, and it was so accurate that a bunch of wolves started howling back. He has had numerous species of plants and animals named after him, including, we've covered one in the pod. Do you remember it?
No.
Sir David's long-beaked echidna. 2 different prehistoric creatures, a butterfly, a wasp, a snail, a gecko, a ghost shrimp, the Prethalophus attenborough, also known as Attenborough's goblin spider.
So nothing that looks nice then so far.
The goblin spider is a teeny tiny spider. It's like a millimetre big. A type of Caribbean smiley face spider. Attenborough's rubber frog, which really interestingly is a frog that doesn't have a tadpole stage. The babies just hatch out of their eggs as tiny frogs.
And is it really bouncy, hence the rubber? I don't know.
Maybe. And Nepanthes attenborough, a giant carnivorous pitcher plant found in the Philippines that can consume small animals. Isn't that revolting?
I don't know how much of a compliment some of these are.
I find that really gross. The thought of a plant that can devour like a rat just seems so wrong.
To be fair, I would buy
You
some.
would be up for that, yeah. To end, I found this clip of him. This is a bird of paradise sabotaging multiple takes. Here we go.
This surely is one. This surely. Close up. The prunes are truly exquisite. A gauzy cone. Of course, by the 18th century, naturalists realised that birds of paradise did have legs. Even so, by about the 18th century. And so, when... Very well. But Carl Linnaeus, the great classifier of the natural world, when he came to allocate a scientific name to this bird, called it woohoo, Paradisia apoda, the bird of paradise without legs.
I really love how your dog will be hearing that, be like, yeah, I'm not that disruptive, recording your little podcast.
Happy birthday to David Attenborough.
Happy 100th birthday.
On to the good news roundup. Liverpool Hospital in Sydney has introduced Australia's first MRI-guided cryoablation system, a revolutionary technology that destroys tumours by freezing them without surgery. It's a non-invasive, real-time imaging technique which allows doctors to treat cancers in the spine, kidney and bone with high precision, allowing patients to go home the same day. New UK laws have come into effect recognising octopus, crabs and lobsters as sentient beings. Following over 300 studies, the animals who have complex central nervous systems were shown to have the capacity to feel pain, distress and joy. And under the Animal Welfare Act, it's now illegal to boil them alive and they must be humanely killed. Also in the UK, a robotic fish was recently launched that eats plastic in the ocean and processes it by digesting it. For the first time in history, women now outnumber men in NASA's newest astronaut class. And for the first time in over 40 years, rhinos have returned to the wild in Uganda after being wiped out by poaching in the 1980s.
You've been listening to Animal Nonsense. Join us for more.